Vatsos here.
Johnson here.
Ward here.
Lowry here. Okay, we have a quorum. Let's get underway then.
Nancy's working on getting in too.
All right, well, let's go ahead and have the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United
States of America
and
and
to the republic
for
for which it stands,
one nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Okay. I got too far away from my phone.
Okay.
All right, we need to approve the agenda.
So move.
I'll second. Oh, I think we had a tie. All right, the minutes of the special board meeting of 4/20.
Stop. Roll call vote.
Oh, roll call vote. Okay, go ahead.
Cavazos.
Aye.
Goss. I don't know if she's not there yet. Johnson.
Aye.
Ward. Aye. Lowry.
Yes.
So 4-0.
Okay, we have the minutes of the 4/22 special board meeting. Are there any additions or corrections? Seeing or hearing none, I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
Second that. There's Nancy.
Roll call, please.
Johnson.
Aye.
Cavazos.
Aye.
Ward. Aye. Lowry.
Yes.
Goss. Can you hear us, Nancy? Okay, so 4-0 at this point. I see Nancy, but I don't think we can get in and out yet.
Right. Okay, we have the bills next. Are there any questions on the bills? Any additions to the bills, Bud?
Do you have line 28 there? Superior Chemical.
Yes.
Yes.
Total would be 43,260.01.
Yes.
Okay, that's it.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the bills as presented. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ward. Roll call, please.
Cavazos.
Aye.
Goss. No, Goss is muted.
Oh, I heard her a little bit.
Okay, can you nod if you're saying yes, Nancy? Let me unmute you, hold on. There you go. I unmuted Nancy. Let's see if it worked. You're saying yes to approving the payment of bills? Okay. Lowry?
Yes. I'm in. Yeah.
Kathy Ward? Yes. Johnson?
Aye.
5-0.
Okay, administrators report, Bud.
Okay, just got notice today that Delta Dental will be reducing our premium for June by 50% due to the inability for people to go to the dentist right now. We've been meeting weekly with the village and emergency management on the current virus situation. The annual meeting is postponed. The earliest it can be, depending on the pandemic and the emergency declarations, would be June 21st, I believe the day is. That depends on if things get extended. Private events are being canceled and rescheduled for next year here at the town hall. Attorney Alexi has contacted Jack Bruce He's working on a draft revised agreement with the village, anticipating it will be ready this week for comment. The status conference is still on schedule for May 26th at 8:15 a.m. at this point. Jay Zahn has turned in a notification of non-candidacy and will not be running for county treasurer anymore. North Bay Drive, the beach area has been eroding out there. We've got it shored up on the road. We're keeping an eye on it because there might be some more activity if we get some pretty strong southeast winds. It looks like we'll be starting to pave on Monday, Town Line Drive and Pioneer, starting on that end first part of next week. The rest of them tentatively scheduled to start on the 18th. Job applications are due here on the 18th. A resident at the end of Northern Door Road has asked the town to vacate the portion that runs from the cul-de-sac to the Newport Park boundary. I'm in contact with DNR real estate people to see what their future plans might be for that before we take it any further. And the survey of the Diulio parcel is in progress. As soon as that gets done, we can get the documentation ready for closing on that one sometime this summer or early spring maybe. And that should be it.
Okay, any questions, anybody?
I do. Why does the guy on Northern Door Road want that vacated?
He didn't really give a sound reason. I don't know exactly why. I talked to Jay about it, and he said in the wintertime when he has that cul-de-sac plowed, he sees cross-country ski tracks going from the cul-de-sac over that right-of-way down toward the park. So somebody is getting into the park and skiing that way. So I'll be talking to the guy a little bit more once I hear something from the DNR.
If we vacate that, do we end up with a situation like we have on Muffin Lane?
That right-of-way was part of the original Island View plat, which was accepted by the town way back. And the cul-de-sac would still be a town right-of-way, town road. And the part that would be vacated would be turned over to the landowner that is asking for the vacation.
Right. But if we vacate that road, then are we going to have a problem with plowing in that cul-de-sac?
No, it'll stay exactly like it is.
Okay.
The only problem that arises is if the park ever wanted to get another access or exit road, that would be a logical spot.
Yeah, that's why I'm talking to the real estate people to see if they have any long-range plans for that, for doing just that. So there's a process we have to go through for vacating it. We have to notify people within a couple thousand feet of the vacated, potentially vacated portion before we would hold any kind of a hearing on it.
Okay, any other questions anybody has? All right, thank you. Public input. Anybody have any general comments they want to make?
I'd like to say some things.
Go ahead.
Just kind of an update on where the Plan Commission is at regarding upcoming conditional uses or variances. The county will be holding the first, I believe, RPC hearing. There are 7 conditional uses that they'll be hearing via video conference tomorrow, starting at 9 a.m. And nobody really knows at this point in time how well that's going to go. And I've been holding off, trying to decide whether or not to try and handle this virtually, or if we need to consider an in-person meeting, if you will. I was planning on sitting in on that meeting via WebEx. However, good news and bad news. The bad news is I won't be able to do that tomorrow, because the good news is I'm getting a new internet service provider and they're installing it tomorrow morning. There will be another hearing, Board of Adjustment, on Tuesday, the 12th, and I will be sitting in on that one. And hopefully everything will go well and there won't be any problems and we can move forward from there.
Okay, any other general comments anybody has?
I do, John.
Okay, go ahead.
I know this is not going to come as any surprise to anybody, and it would be easier for me to say this if it weren't that Chief Heck were on the call, because he'd be the first one to say that it's a team effort. But I think that, and we all know, I know of, and we all remember the extraordinary work he did with the Pioneer explosion. But the organization that he's put together, and I'm always going to say it's a team effort, to support the community during this crisis is extraordinary. He's there all the time. The few times I've been there to volunteer, he's there already and he stays afterwards. And he's the linchpin of the entire operation for the county. And I don't want that to let anybody not understand. I'm sure everybody understands that and it's not a surprise, but it's a remarkable job that he's doing.
Oh, thank you. I would concur in that. Any other general comments anybody has?
Hi, it's Mickey. I have, maybe it'll be covered under the discussion of number 8, but I know a lot of you are participating in a lot of Zoom meetings and you are in maybe this Village of Sister Bay, and I'm on the community coordinator meeting, so I pick up stuff from the other meetings and trying to learn what expectations we may be needing to set for both visitors and residents regarding more specifically public facilities like the restrooms and things at the park, and keep me updated on what we should be trying to have people prepare or plan for wherever that discussion may take place. Did I make sense?
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, Sister Bay had a rather long meeting last night on that as well, that Bud and I were in on for a little bit. Okay, anybody else want on any agenda item? If not, then we'll move ahead to number 8, discussion and possible action regarding the sunset clause for resolution 2-20. Bud, you want to run with this a little bit, please? I don't think he wants to run with it. Bud, are you there?
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't see Bud is there.
Maybe his battery ran out.
I can go down the hall and find him. Hold on. Yeah, try the town phone. He's gonna try the town phone. He got disconnected.
Okay. Okay, I don't think he's still there.
Yeah, I'm not seeing him trying to get in yet. I can hear the phone dialing.
Well, until we get him on the line, the gist of this is we had 60 days as a sunset clause unless it was extended. And we are going to approach that in 17th of May.
Right.
And I think probably everything seems to be a little up in the air right now. I know the state Supreme Court is discussing the declaration that the governor put out. And in the course of the Sister Bay meeting last night, their attorney made the comment that he felt pretty sure or certain that the Supreme Court would overrule that declaration that the governor made and provide a 6-day window to meet with the legislature and the governor and come up with a new emergency declaration. Bud, are you there? Still
I
not there.
think I'm here now, yeah.
Aha. Yes, we can hear you now. I was just commenting on our resolution 220, and that we
Yes.
have the sunset clause, and we're coming up on that the sunset clause ending, or the resolution ending, I believe, on June or May 17th.
That's correct.
And I believe what we should do is simply extend it for another 6 days, or 60 days, excuse me. With the caveat that we could be extended again if needed. Anybody have a comment on that?
So you're thinking of, your thought is to extend it to the 17th of July?
For now, yep.
And this would affect gatherings, numbers of group, numbers in the group
Correct.
as
It
the first one.
Yeah. Chris Heck, are you still there?
Yes, I am. Go ahead.
Do you want to make a comment on that?
I can. You know, I was on that meeting yesterday with the village as well, and you know, they were discussing some of the same things, and their opinion was they'd consider doing it, but they were going to wait to see what the Supreme Court decided, because they didn't want to. It appeared to me anyway, they didn't want to leave themselves open to any kind of a challenge. They, you know, at that point, they were also talking about trying to put in requirements for essentially no shoes, no shirt, no mask, no service, and they didn't want to proceed with that either. I think it could be a lose-lose either way. I don't know if there's a right or a wrong answer. I hate to be political about it, but you know, I don't know. You can extend it if there's a reason to reverse yourself. You can always reverse yourself. I think it's easier to extend it and cancel it than it is to let it expire and then try to pass it again.
All right, that's a good point. Anybody else have a comment?
Yeah, I agree with that as well. I think it leaves us an opportunity to just go with what the state ultimately decides, and maybe even the county decides, if we have it in place. If we don't, then we have to reestablish the guidelines according to whatever that might be. So I think it's just it's wise to just keep it going, and then act on it when the state and or county decide that there are other guidelines we should be following, and we could have a resolution, if need be, that coincides with what the county and state are suggesting.
Would everybody be a little more comfortable if we did it for 30 days?
Yes.
Yes.
Uh,
I hear 2 yeses.
Yeah, I'm fine with 30 days. It just means we review it every, every second board meeting, that's all.
Right, okay. All right, then I'll make a motion to extend Resolution 2-20, Declaration of Health Emergency, for an additional 30 days, and that would begin on May 17th.
Is that really enough?
Well, I thought we just kind of decided 30 days and then we can see what happens at the state and what the county does. And then if we need be, we can go another 30 days or whatever.
Okay.
Well, okay, if we extend it for 30 days, that takes us to June 17th, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
Which is the second Wednesday of the month.
yeah, we should probably know by the first meeting, our first meeting of June, as to what's going on at the state and county level.
Correct.
Yeah, I agree. When did they think the court is going to rule?
Well, they were excuse me, they were discussing it yesterday morning. Or hearing the case, I'm sorry, yesterday morning, and they were discussing it yesterday afternoon, but there was no indication when they might release their opinion.
Doesn't
If I-
seem like they're going to dilly-dally with that.
Go ahead, Chris.
I believe Mr. Nesbitt indicated there was something about a 6 or an 8 day window that they had to act in, and if they didn't act within that time frame, there was something that was going to change and they could no longer act. So he felt it would happen this week or very early next week.
Okay. Yeah, I recall that. That's correct. Okay, is there a second to the motion?
I'll second that motion.
So I have
Okay.
a motion by Lowry, a second by Ward to extend Resolution 220, Declaration of a Health Emergency for additional 30 days starting on 5/17/2020.
Roll call, please.
Cavazos,
Aye.
Lowry,
Yes?
Ward,
Aye.
Goss,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
5-0.
Okay, going on to number 9, consider emergency funding for local food pantries. Everybody is aware that we had basically set aside $2,500 for the Fire Chiefs Coalition, and also for what was the name of it again, Stacy? It wasn't the
Is it the ADRC Meals on Wheels?
yes, right.
Or, no, the Door County Food Co-op.
Yeah, Door County Food Co-op. My understanding at this point in time is the Fire Chiefs Coalition, the response to Sister Bay, that they would accept 500, but kind of left everything else kind of hanging. My thought was maybe the thing to do is, if they are thinking they may not need the additional 1,500, that we take a portion of that to the food pantries that are serving Northern Door County and donate to them.
You want,
Go
would you
ahead.
like me to interject on that? Yep.
Sure can.
First of all, we appreciate the offer and the support from the town. As always, it goes above and beyond. 500 would be an outstanding and more than generous donation. We would not, I don't think at this time, need or want any more money than that. Ideally, if we could get 250 or 500 from each of the municipalities in Door County, we'd be doing very well.
Okay. Any board member have any question?
Okay,
State-
so what is the suggestion to do with the other? With the,
Well, we've got, essentially right now, we have another $1,500 that we're going to take out of the contingency fund. And we do know that the food pantries are running short on food. And my thought was that the thing to do there, excuse me, is perhaps donate $500 to the various food pantries that serve Northern Door County and provide them with $500 so that they can purchase groceries. Or one other step, request that they would purchase those groceries either through the Pioneer Store or the Piggly Wiggly that serve this area.
okay, so you're talking 500 for each food pantry?
For the ones that serve Northern Door.
All right, and I mean, as far as I know, there's one at the Sister Bay Baptist Church. There's one
four of
at
them.
Door of Life, and also down in Sturgeon Bay, Feed My People.
Hello? 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 Hello?
We're getting spammed.
Yep,
Hello?
There's your spam.
yep.
I don't know who that's coming through.
Well, anyway, we only have basically two then in Northern Door.
No, there's actually four. There's the Koinonia
Oh.
Cupboard at the Sister Bay Baptist Church, the Door of Life Church in Sister Bay, Shepherd of the Bay in Ellison Bay, and then there's a Care 24/7 food pantry as part of the Stella Maris Church system in Fish Creek.
Wow.
Oh, okay,
Can I add a comment to that?
please.
So I'm part of the oversight board for the Door County Food Co-op, and so one of our we meet weekly, and as this whole thing winds down, or we start to talk about it winding down, in conjunction with the schools ending their program towards the very end of May. Right now, we're doing about 650 to 750 meals a night. When that goes away, the message is going to be to the general public is to shift that burden onto the food pantries. So I think your donation to the food pantries would be very appropriate and very timely. So I just want to give you that additional piece of information.
Okay, thank you. Well, my suggestion then at this, if we want to pick two of the food pantries, we can, or if we want to go do all four, my suggestion would be at this stage of the game at least to contribute $250 to each of the four.
Did you say
Those four would be Shepherd of the Bay and Door of Life and Sister Bay Baptist and Stella Maris, the pantries that they run out of those facilities?
Yes. That still would leave us 500 from the original 2,500 we had talked about appropriating.
Well, that sounds reasonable.
Yeah. Still with-
Anybody else want to weigh in on that? Okay, then I'll
So-
make,
Go ahead, John.
I'll make a motion that we donate $250 to the four Northern Door County food pantries serving this area. And take that $1,000 from the contingency fund that we had already appropriated 2,500 from, or 5,000 total. Is there a second?
Yeah, I'll second.
Stacy, you want to read the motion and then just please insert those four food pantries?
Sure, I have a motion by Lowry, a second by Johnson to donate $250 to each of the four Northern Door food pantries, Koinonia Cupboard, Door of Life, Shepherd of the Bay, and Care 24/7 Food Pantry Stella Maris from contingency, which was already appropriated. Was it to the COVID? I didn't catch the last part of your sentence.
Well, it was, excuse me, it was, well, now you got me. It would have been for the money we appropriated from the contingency fund, of which we have, in this particular case, we had, what, 2,500, and the Fire Chiefs Coalition was, we were providing 500 to.
Okay, so from the contingency fund, which was already appropriated to the Door County Fire Chiefs Coalition.
Right.
Okay.
Roll call.
Goss,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Lowry,
Yes.
Ward,
Aye.
Cavazos.
Yes.
So passes 5-0.
Okay, going on to number 11. Update on the COVID-19 related advertisement in the Peninsula Pulse. Janet?
The ad will be in this Friday and next Friday's ad, and we got 6 communities to help co-sponsor the ad. What it outlines is county, different county organizations with phone numbers, and some of them with email addresses. It gives the Piggly Wiggly and Main Street Market. Hopefully it will be in the upper right-hand corner on the right side. So in essence, it's costing everybody roughly just under $40 to run it for 2 weeks.
How much?
40.
$30.90.
For both weeks. Total, that's the total.
Mm-hmm.
The ads were $92.70 each. And I did my best to get them to knock down the price for all kinds of reasons.
Well, thank you. You did a great job in this. Thank you very much, Janet. Any questions, comments anybody has?
I'm good.
Okay, then let's go on to number 11, consider ordinance 120, the appointment of alternate members on the Board of Review. You should have a copy of that ordinance. Anybody have a question on it? We have 3 alternates listed there. Julie Kingsbury, Yvonne Dwanch, and Anastasia Bell.
I have a question.
Go.
Have both Julie and Yvonne said they would do it?
Yes.
And Walter, weigh in here. Should Stacy be an alternate if she's going to have to do minutes at the Board of Review or take notes at the Board of Review?
Stacy, are you a resident yet here?
I am a resident.
Okay, then I think you're automatically the clerk of the Board of Review,
Okay.
which would give her a vote. So I would not have to be appointed, or we would not have to appoint a resident to replace her if she was not a resident like I was appointed.
But now this is for an alternate. So what would happen if she's taking notes and minutes and somebody said, I want Stacy Bell to sit in for such and such? Now who takes the minutes and notes?
Oh, it worked. No. But now Stacy is appointed, correct? So she cannot be, reversing myself here, she cannot be a member of the Board of Review because she is appointed. But she can be a member of the Board of Review because she's a citizen of the town. So if she takes the minutes and does whatever, that's fine. but then you could appoint me or somebody else to be on the board of review to take her place.
Right.
Or
And
she
that-
can be appointed to the board of review to take her place as a, as an appointed person.
But this is for an alternate board member.
Oh, the
So,
alternate, I could be an alternate. She could be appointed to be a member. So, however you want to do it here.
Well,
did you talk to, the appraisal guy? Have they had anybody come forward, Stacy?
They have not said that they've had anybody come forward.
Have you had any phone calls, any, people expressing issues?
We have not had anybody expressing issues at this time.
I personally would think you could do it with the two alternates and not have you as a third. All I'm envisioning is somebody
Yeah.
pulling you off of taking minutes, wanting you to sit on the board. Now you have nobody taking minutes or notes.
Well, we've got two ways to do this. We could have Bud take notes, or we simply appoint Bud the alternate number 3, and not take up resolution 320, which is the next thing on the agenda.
When you're a member of the board of review, like I used to be, and the clerk at the same time, it is kind of difficult to take some decent minutes and then try to pay attention as to exactly what's going on with the deliberations and the evidence that's put forth. So it would be a little easier to separate the minute taking from an actual person on the board of review.
Yeah, that sounds very reasonable.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to make a motion then to adopt ordinance 1-20 with the change to alternate number 3 to be Bud Combs, Walter Combs.
I can second that.
Okay. Any other questions anybody has? So that'll give us 3 alternates, would be Julie Kingsbury, Yvonne Dewanch, and Bud. All right, we have a motion and a second. Roll call, please, Stacy.
Goss,
Aye.
Lowry,
Yes.
Ward,
Aye.
Johnson,
Nay.
Cavazos.
Aye.
So 4-1. Motion.
Okay, and we are not going to pick up number 12 because we covered that with resolution 1-20. All right, going on to the next item on the agenda, consider approval of the audit contract with CLA for the 2019 audit. Bud or Stacy on this one, please.
Well, I've been reading through it, and I got a couple of questions to ask. They're just auditor type questions. I haven't gotten all the way through it yet, but it's pretty standard, I guess, and it's quite lengthy and a lot of verbiage in there, but it's all stuff pertaining to what they would be looking for and we'd be offering to them for the audit purposes. So it's, I think, technically a lot of boilerplate in there.
Is there a cost figure with that?
I don't recall seeing the cost in that exact document.
I don't remember.
I didn't see one either.
No.
This was the contract that came out of when they presented us with the financials, the draft statements, they also sent this contract.
Oh, okay. Well, at this stage of the game, I don't see us looking for another firm for the audit. So based on the discussion, I'll make a motion to approve the audit contract with CLA for the 2019 audit. Is there a
We
second?
did have the bill come through on that one already. I think we paid that last month or the last bill cycle.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's what I was thinking, that we had finished this.
Yeah, what this is doing is just, we're certifying to all the information we're giving to them, and they're certifying to us what they're doing in the audit, so it doesn't have the dollars in these two documents.
Okay.
Oh.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Whoop, a tie.
So I'm going to put Lowry as the maker of the motion and Cavazos as the second.
Okay. And a roll call.
Ward,
Aye.
Lowry,
Yes?
Cavazos,
Yes.
Johnson,
Aye.
Goss.
Hi.
Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, going on to number 14, discussion possible action regarding the Ellison Bay Marina and town launch ramps for 2020 season. Back to Bud on this one.
I talked to the DNR on this and in relation to the launch ramp, and they've basically said if we have health concerns and high water concerns, there is not going to be much, if any, objection to us closing down the ramp for those reasons. So we would be okay with that. As far as the marina itself and the slips, I've had a few people ask if we're going to have slips available, and I said it's to be determined yet. We're going to watch what the water does. It's getting pretty high or close to the level of the piers right now, so if it goes up a bunch more like it's supposed to, it's going to be worse yet. If you look next door at Bayview there in the former Lillian Larson Harbor, Heritage Harbor over there, it's pretty, I think they're closed for the season, and the water is just about up to the level of the piers right now.
Have we got a little cushion here, Bud, to address it at the next meeting?
Yeah, I think we do. We'll just have to tell the people that are asking us that they're going to have to stand by, or we can't guarantee anything.
Yeah, I've had somebody contact me on behalf of themselves and others that they're anxious to get a decision, and they're all okay with taking on the risks. Of course, we have to figure out what would be our risk, and the idea of having them present us with proof of insurance so that we wouldn't be liable to what might happen. But it sounds like there's definitely a number of people who are who have told me at any rate that they're willing to lease their spot and go ahead and cash their check, was what somebody said.
If we do that, and if we open it up and we don't have the piers lifted a little bit, would it be smart to have some kind of an agreement drawn up? I know, we don't need any more legal expenses, but have some kind of a legal document that they would sign. I will tell you, with my past experience, that come mid-June, we're going to be asked to raise the piers because it's damaging their boat, or they can't get in and out, or, so unless we're willing to do that, I think we're going to need to have them sign something that says they're not going to ask us to do that.
Could I comment, please?
Go ahead.
This is Lynn Brunson.
Yes.
I'm actually the person that Kathy spoke to. I will, and I wasn't sure I could get on here. I've been a town slip renter for the last 2 years on the Long Pier, number 10. And prior to that, I was in what's Bayview Heritage Harbor for 3 years. I'm a licensed tour boat captain, so I'm pretty familiar with the water levels up and down. And a couple of facts. Last year, my boat was in number 10, and it was okay. There were a couple times the water came right up kind of to the edge of the dock. But after my boat was removed in the fall, I was the last one out, maybe October, right prior to that, or right prior to them actually raising the dock that I'm on. So the dock was lifted last year, the long one, after all of us left. Right now, and I go in there almost every day and watch, it ranges between about 12 and 18 inches above the water. If you were to check today, I would guess it's at least 16 inches, the dock above the water. I don't see any reason, and I've talked to 2 other past slip renters, I don't see any reason why it wouldn't be opened. It's at our risk. The water could go up. The water could go down. I've seen presentations by NOAA and their predictions, they admit their predictability, their ability to predict is not very good. Okay? They have 100 years worth of data and the lake has been here 30,000 years. So it's like having hours worth of data on a year. I have insurance, and when I was in Bayview, I was asked to provide proof of insurance and name Bayview on my insurance policy, and I did. I don't have any problem doing similar thing with the town. I would encourage you to open the marina. If you don't, then I'm gonna have to seek elsewhere because you can't really wait until the middle of the season to lease out slips, okay? Now is the time. So if your decision is to close, to wait, then I will go elsewhere with my boat. And some other people will too. I know Ernie Anderson, who's been a longtime person in number 1, I was talking to him yesterday. He really hopes you open it. Given his age and health conditions, he said it might be his last year of sailing, and he's really hoping you do. And he said that I could use his name. So, yes, I'll take questions.
No, I was just going to refer to Janet's suggestion. Janet, were you referring to like a waiver of liability for the town, and in addition to waive any kind of responsibility for raising the piers?
Right. That's all I'm saying is that if we're going to open it up and let them rent their slips again, if we are not going to have somebody go in there and raise the slips, then in order for us to open it up for them to go in, we really should have a waiver. Like if, you know, that's what you want to call it. Something that they sign and they agree not to come back to the town. They agree, I'm taking this slip in these conditions and I agree to it. And any damage to my boat is mine. You know, with reason, you know, with regard to the water level and the slips where they are.
Right.
Right.
And it shouldn't be too much at all. I mean, that's a pretty standard form that our municipal attorney could pull up and have it adapted slightly without much legal fee at all. That's a form book type of form that would be able to be done fairly simply.
So we would know this, and we would maybe even have this by the next meeting. We could approve it, and everybody could be in by Memorial Day, pretty much like they've always been.
Right.
I believe the piers are at the highest point they can be.
Yes, I would agree with that. I think they are. And like I said, there's currently about 16 inches of clearance. The pier that I'm on was raised last year after the end of the season. So I'm perfectly happy with the height of the docks. I think everyone else would be. Ernie was, and I would be perfectly willing to sign a liability waiver. but I can't wait until July.
Well, I don't think we can either, so.
Well, it sounds like if we could get all that paperwork squared away and in, then we can, it feels like we should have that paperwork in before we open up, right?
Yes.
They'd have to be signed by
Yeah.
the slip owner.
Right.
Yeah. It would be, Bud, it would be contacting Jack and asking him not just for a waiver of liability, but sort of a,
How about a hold harmless?
and a hold harmless, yeah. But I mean, in terms of Janet's point, which is the fact that the town would not assume any responsibility or duty, I guess would be the better word, would not assume any duty to adjust the piers due to the changing conditions of the lake level. In other words, it's not just a waiver of liability, but also a denial of any kind of duty on the part of the town to adjust the piers according to the varying lake levels. So it would really be, it would take care of two things then. Any liability that might result from a boat being damaged in some way, on the one hand, but then as Janet pointed out, it would also obviate the need for the town to have to respond to a rising or lowering lake level this season, at least anyway, that the boat owner, the boat owner would understand that the town is going to just let it go in terms of the repair and adjustment of any kind of dock height.
Yeah, I think if, Lou, your last point, probably specify that we wouldn't adjust the pier levels up. You know, if they open the Illinois waterway, who knows, it might drop by 2 feet, but then you would want those piers to drop.
Well, I don't know enough about that. I mean, in other words, it would be what we would be willing to do as a town,
Right.
one way or the other. To Janet's point.
Right.
Janet makes a good point.
Okay, Kathy, your parks and properties, you want to make the motion?
Well, it feels like until we get this paperwork in that, can we make a decision right now, or we could go ahead and make a decision that would go in effect when we have the paperwork from Jack? Is that what it sounds like it can happen, Lou?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It shouldn't be a very big deal for Jack to put that together in a very short period of time. It's a standard, it'll be a standard form, something that we could even do. I would hesitate to do it, but we could do it. Jack shouldn't take very long at all. It shouldn't incur very much in terms of legal fees.
Do we need a motion to authorize Jack to do that?
Yes.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Okay. Then I'll move that we ask the administrator to contact the lawyer and to arrange to have documents to certify protection for the town of Liberty Grove as we open the slips in the Ellison Bay Marina for rental for this 2020 season.
I'll second the motion. Any other discussion? Stacy, you want to read the motion, please?
Sure, one moment.
Okay.
So I have a motion by Ward, a second by Lowry to direct the administrator to contact the attorney to create documents to certify the town as slips are opened in the Ellison Bay Marina for the 2020 season.
Yeah, certified protection for the town.
Thank you. So create documents to certify protection for the town as slips are opened in the Ellison Bay Marina for the 2020 season.
Okay, roll call, please.
Cavazos,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Ward,
Aye.
Lowry,
Aye.
Goss.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, going on to number,
I have a question.
go ahead.
Please.
Yep.
So what does this mean in terms of a date when we are able to put our boats in? Assuming that everything goes according to plan.
Well, let's say it takes 10 days to get that document back from our attorney, and at that point, hand it over to be signed. I would think at that point, the boats can go in. I think realistically, we're looking at probably 10 days at least.
Okay, so will slip owners like myself, I have filled out my form and sent you a check. Will I be notified that I can come and sign that form?
Definitely.
Okay, thank you.
I have a
go-
question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So you guys didn't really address the launch ramp at all. So I was kind of curious about, I mean, does this mean the launch ramp would be open?
So far, yep.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay, going on to number 15, discuss and possible action regarding temporary suspension of fire inspection requirement for issuance of liquor license. Back to Bud on this one, or Stacy.
Well, I guess this would just take a motion to do what it says here. Up to this point, we've had the fire inspections done prior to issuing the license, and if they didn't pass the fire inspection, they would be not getting the license. That did put the pressure on them to comply, and as I understand it, they've been in good shape the last few years since we did that ordinance, because up to that point, there was no incentive for them to, real incentive for them to do that, the electrical or whatever else repairs needed to be made to pass inspection. So I don't know if and or when they'll be inspecting after this thing gets over with, but we could do the license now, and then down the road, if they would fail the inspection, we can put the heat back on them again. But I think most of the establishments have been very compliant since this has been instituted.
Would it be wise to add to that issuing the license the caveat that if they do not pass the fire inspection when it occurs during the course of the year of the license, that the license will be void?
That's what I was just gonna say.
Yeah, make it a condition.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, give them so many days to correct the faults, and then if they don't, then they lose it after X number.
So approval of any liquor license would be conditional upon a subsequent fire approval by a fire inspector.
Correct.
Yeah, that sounds good. So the issue is that they can't get in there to do the inspection right now.
Yeah, I would. think
Yes,
so.
they're holding off on that because of the virus thing.
Okay.
Okay, Lou, this one's yours.
Oh, all righty. I'll move that the town approve the issuance of liquor licenses conditional upon a subsequent fire inspection approval.
I'll second. Any other discussion? Stacy, read the motion, please.
I have a motion by Cavazos, a second by Lowry, that the town approve issuance of liquor licenses conditional on subsequent fire inspection approval.
Roll call, please.
Johnson,
Aye.
Cavazos,
Aye.
Lowry,
Yes.
Goss,
Aye.
Ward.
Aye.
Passes 5-0.
Okay, going on to number 16, consider use of town roads by the snowmobile club for the 2020-2021 season. You have a list there in a note. Are there any questions on that?
Yes. Is the trail connection on North Newport Lane, is that a trail that goes into Newport State Park? Do we know? Or we don't know?
No, run that again, the North Newport Lane?
Right. Okay, so all this is to connect to the snowmobile trails.
Correct.
So is that North Newport Lane, that must connect to a trail that goes into Newport State Park? Or we don't know that?
I believe there's a trail that crosses NP. And yeah, I think you're correct. I think you're correct on that. Because I know there's a trail that crosses NP and I believe comes down NP toward the park. And that would make sense that Newport Lane would do that.
Okay. And then the Gills Rock Park and the fire station property, that is strictly to connect to the trails. Am I correct? That doesn't give somebody, okay, let's go, do donuts in Gills Rock Park.
Has that been an issue? Is this a new area for the trail?
I don't remember them asking for a blanket Gills Rock Park and fire station property before. I don't remember them asking for that. And to me, that kind of, you're asking for some trouble there. I mean, if they can go into the park and physically mark out, where the trail goes with those, little flag things, or the reflectors.
Yeah.
Well, okay, as long as the snowmobiles stay on that trail, but you get a wet snow and you get somebody that wants to do donuts and now you're going to have all the grass eaten up.
I don't recall a trail on the fire. I'm assuming that's the North Fire Station property before.
I'd have to look at the list from last year.
Okay.
And then also, Stacy, it turns out that there's a typo in that North Badger is on here twice,
Okay.
unless they plan to do a lot of snowmobiling on North Badger.
I know last year when they changed the routes, they had put a couple roads on and there was some duplicates, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering, if there's a route change, that this is including Gills Rock Park and the North Fire Station property, if that wasn't included before. I didn't think about getting out last year's list to compare it.
Well, I'm going to suggest we table this till the next meeting and have Stacy or go ahead and just review. And Kathy, you can review it too.
Yeah,
And
I'll do
to get
that.
back, yeah, to get back to them to find out if there's some alternates here that haven't been placed in before.
Yeah, and we would want to make sure that they're just passing through across on the park property and the fire station property. And no dilly-dallying kind of thing.
I don't know how you stop that, but I would maybe ask them why they're adding on.
Yeah, okay.
Blues Rock Park and Fire Station property.
Okay, I'll get in touch with Dennis and Lisa.
All right, I'll make a motion to table this to our next meeting. For the reason of gathering further information. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Roll call, please, Stacy.
Goss,
Aye.
Lowry,
Yes.
Johnson,
Aye.
Cavazos,
Aye.
Ward.
Aye.
5-0 pass.
Okay, going on to number 17, consider committee appointment structure and meetings. I want to back up a little bit here. One of the reasons we have committees is to engage the electors and citizens of the town within the government, and it's a good path for the supervisors to understand, what's going on in the community and desires and so forth. If you look down the list of committees and especially the finance committee, through an unfortunate death and then a resignation, we ended up last year having 4 supervisors on that particular committee. And I think that kind of supersedes the real reason they have that committee. So I'm going to suggest that that Nancy stays on as chair, and I have Paul Schwingel stays, and Gary Kemp stays, and Karen Studebaker stays. That would take Lou, Janet, and Kathy off that. And I have 3 people that have said that they would serve on that particular committee. Now, I can go through them for you. One is Andrew Gantman. He's the vice president at Going Garbage. He currently sits on the Economic Development Committee. The other one would be Matt Stone, who ran for the village board, or excuse me, the town board. And he has expressed an interest in serving on committees. And the third person I'm recommending is Mike Rep from Ellison Bay. He and his wife have moved to the Ellison Bay area as full-time residents. And I've got he sent me somewhat of a resume here. He was a vice president general manager of Bell Carter Packaging headquarters in Modesto, California. He also was in general management at the Wisconsin Cheese Man, which included operations, sales, marketing, administration, and executive management. He's got a pretty extensive background in management, and as a result of that, a pretty good background, I think, in financing. So it would be my motion to appoint Andrew Gatman, Matt Stone, and Mike Rep to the Finance Committee. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Now, any discussion?
I have much to say.
Go ahead.
I am adamantly opposed to not having Janet on the Finance Committee. Adamantly. She has a long history with the budgets, understands how the Liberty Grove budget works. And I as chair of finance, I don't want 3 new people and one of them not to be Janet. Absolutely not.
Okay, anybody else?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
I do agree with the experience that Janet brings. I do know Andrew. I think he would be very good. And I do know Mike Rep, and I'm really pleased that he got in contact with you, John. I only recently found out that he and his wife Angie have moved up here. They have, his folks still have a home up here. They're one of those families that used to have summer homes, and they've always had a Door County connection. And I know of his business experience. I think he would be good. And speaking for myself, I would not mind giving up my seat on that for what I know of Mike Rep. I do worry about losing Janet's experience with being able to move the numbers around.
Okay, if I make a comment on that, the budget comes back to the board. We're the final deciders on the budget. The budget meetings are also open to the public, and I would expect, in the case of, in this case, Janet, I would expect her to be there. As most board members probably will be there listening into what's going on. I just think it's wise to get as many people out in the community to serve on that particular committee, knowing that everything comes back to the board.
I
for the
disagree.
final
Finance
decision.
does a lot of work, and Janet is a big part of it.
Well, I'm not saying
I
she's
really
not.
want her to stay on finance.
Well, I'm not saying she's not. My point is that I think we owe it to the community to get as many outside people in on that committee, knowing that the final decision rests with the board. And you recall, I mean, Bud is going to be there as well, and Bud has been an integral part of doing the development of the budget all along.
Well, could we?
I appreciate your argument, John, but I totally disagree with it.
That's fine.
Does it have to be 7? Could it be 8 people, including Janet? Because I agree that Janet's expertise. I agree completely, though, John, that being on the finance committee and then being on the board that approves it kind of establishes a built-in conflict of interest, and it would be a lot easier for a town board supervisor to avoid that conflict of interest by having a group of citizens like you are proposing work out the budget and then have it defended by the chair and so forth. Could it not be 8 people, or does it have to be limited to 7?
Or leave Janet on it and I will step down as chair. She knows more than I do.
Don't do that.
I mean, could we not have 8 people on the finance committee?
You should have odd numbers on committees for voting.
Oh, I understand, but at the same time, we could establish rules about where ties go. They could alternate between.
Well, ties, if any motion that has a tie is defeated.
Right. So, that brings consensus then as well. So you have Nancy as chair, Janet on the board, and then 2 fewer supervisors, I think, gives us less of an opportunity for a conflict of interest. And yet at the same time, though, like you say, John, I could never imagine not going to a finance committee meeting as an observer, as you do. That to me is essential. I would never be able to understand what has gone into the budget if I didn't participate either as an observer or as a member of the committee. And as an observer, I'd get as much out of it as you do, as the chair of the town board, but not on the committee that way. Well,
I have asked Bud and Stacy to I'm going to say, put together I'm going to call it a tutorial that I'm going to ask all committee chairs to sit in on, so they understand the budget process and what goes into it. I think there's been a lot of questions from some of the committee people as to, what happens, how do we get to this point of suggesting a budget, to the finance committee and onward to the board. I think I did make a motion. I don't know if there was a second or not.
Yes. Stacy, you have a second recorded?
Unmute. Yes, I have. Where did my page 2 go? I have Lowry made the motion and Ward second to appoint Gatman, Stone, and Rep to the Finance Committee.
Okay, roll call, please.
Cavazos,
Nay.
Lowry,
Yes.
Ward,
No.
Goss,
No.
Johnson.
I'm gonna vote no, but I do have a reason.
So right now, the motion fails 4-1, or 1-4, sorry.
So let me ask this, as part of the, is the other half of adding new members? So I guess I'm thinking in part of the motion, do we have to remove members who are in standing in order to add the new ones?
Correct. And that was in my motion. that
Oh,
they-
was it
those-
in your,
That
I
those
didn't-
three would take the place of.
Okay.
okay, I missed that.
Can I ask John, I know other than Matt Stone wanting to start participating in town government, did you talk to him at all about what he brings to the committee?
Well, a lot less expertise than some of the others, but that being said, also the ability to ask questions that maybe some of the others will not ask, or some of the others assume that they know the answer to. And I think we always find out when questions are asked, there's a much better discussion that takes place, and in many cases makes the decision making a lot easier and a lot more understandable. And it's fresh blood.
John, I have to say something to you. As chair of the finance committee, I was blindsided by this. You did not speak to me about it at all, and yet unilaterally decided to remove 3 people and add 3 new people, or at least make the motion. And this is the first I've heard of it at this meeting. And I don't think that's very nice.
Well, thank you. I didn't mean it to be an insult. As a matter of fact, if you check with any of the other committee members, none of them were consulted on any of the committees. You were not singled out.
It's common courtesy.
Well, I think you know me well enough that I'm pretty adamant on common courtesy. And as I said, I did not single you out, and there was no reason to do that.
A phone call with a, gosh, what do you think, would have been respectful.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Well, I don't think this is the place to get into a little tiff about
7,
this.
8. Well, I have to say that I am in favor of bringing people on. And I don't know exactly what Matt Stone knows about financing and budget. but I think there's a slim chance he would know less than I knew when I came on, and I know I've learned an awful lot. And I do feel strongly about getting more people involved, and especially younger people. I realize can be a complicated committee to be on, but then on the other hand, you're just looking at everything that the town does. And, you know, gosh, I look at us, and especially with this COVID stuff going on, and, you know, we're not the only board where everybody is sitting in the vulnerable population. I kind of feel a sense of urgency myself of bringing in more people and younger people. And I realize that the finance committee is real critical, but on the other hand, I think it can be a great learning experience, as it certainly has been for me.
I also am in favor of having more community members on more committees. I'm thinking that this year, finance purports to be a challenge for all municipalities because we do not have the revenue coming in. And to bring 3 brand new people on at the same time, that's a steep learning curve. We all know how long it took each of us to at least understand the budget, figure it out, and know what the town needs. And especially this year, I would be in favor of a couple of new people, but I think 3 is asking too much, and removing one person who has been instrumental in budgeting for decades in Liberty Grove, I think this is a bad year to do that.
How about going back to what it used to be? The board does it.
I didn't catch that.
How about going back to what it used to be? No finance committee, the board does it.
Whatever the board decides.
Well,
the way this has worked over the years is I draw up the numbers in here, and then Janet and I have gone over it and refined it, made adjustments. And as far as members of the finance committee learning stuff, they haven't really come in here to go over the budget at all with anybody in the office prior to any meetings. And then what happens is you go to the meetings, they might get the budget ahead of time to look at, but that's just numbers. The real discussion and learning process happens in the committee. So as far as, you know, bringing a lot of knowledge to the committee, your newer people aren't going to do it right away. And now we're looking at next year, like Nancy said, possibly reducing some items because of the issue, what's going on now. We're going to really need somebody in there that knows what we've done in the past, made adjustments, and we've probably in the past budgeted with looking to the future. Well, we've cut here now because next year we can do this, or we're going to add this because next year we can do that. And now it's going to be very important that that is remembered or gone over when looking at a new situation, knowing what we did last year, the year before, or even before that, in relation to what we're going to be doing now, how we make that adjustment going forward. So it's hard to argue against the experience.
so I don't know what else John's thinking in terms of committee changes, but I hear you saying move forward and with trying to bring people who are willing to serve in on other committees so that they get familiar with those budget processes at that committee level. as opposed to at the finance, which could be maybe considered the top in terms of the budgeting process?
A highway committee or a parks committee might be a good starting point for somebody to get their feet wet, because those two committees often branch out into other areas in relation to what they're looking at for spending, and they have to weigh that against what other committees are doing. So, and it's not as involved overall encompassing as the finance committee. It would at least be a start.
Mm-hmm.
I'll defer to Nancy, but at the same time, though, I'm going to make a motion to suggest that for this year we expand the size of the finance committee to 8, and I think that, you know, I know it opens up a problem with tie votes, but it's very rare that I recall that we did any kind of voting that there wasn't more of a consensus anyway. And if we had the 8, we would have the 3 new people, and they can get their feet wet in probably the most difficult of the committees. And we also continue to have Janet as a working member on that committee. And we kind of open that up to the problem that might result from having an even number on a committee. But at the same time, that assumes everybody's going to be there, and it assumes that we have a lot of votes that are close, and that's not the case. And in my 8 years experience on the board and the finance committee.
I'll second the motion.
Lou,
Last year,
correctly.
I'm sorry.
So I have,
Last year, Karen Studebaker was new on the finance committee. And she has made progress, but she's relatively new. And I think adding 3 new members, that'll put us with 4 new members. Half of the committee will not have more than 1 year at the most experience. I would highly, highly recommend leaving the committee structure at 7, keeping Janet, and hiring or appointing the 2 that Kathy knows and recommends.
That's what I say. I'll defer to you on that one, Nancy. It was just a suggestion. Sure. If you want to pull your second, John, I'll pull my motion.
I will not pull the second.
Okay.
Stacy, you want to read the motion?
Sure. So right now I have a motion by Cavazzos, a second by Lowry, to expand the size of the finance committee to 8 members, to include the 3 new members, Gantman, Stone, and Rep, to replace Cavazzos and Ward, while leaving Johnson as a working member. Is that what you were intending, Lou?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, that would leave Schwengel on there too.
Yes. It would be Goss,
Schwengel and
Chair,
Kemp.
Kemp, Schwengel, Studebaker, Johnson, and Gatman, Stone, and Rep.
Okay, roll call, please.
Hold on, I'm writing everybody's names now. Johnson. Okay, so roll call. Ward,
Aye.
Lowry,
Yes.
Cavazzos,
Aye.
Goss,
No.
Johnson.
Nay.
So the motion passes 3-2.
Okay, going on now. Plan Commission, Nancy, are you comfortable with all those people?
Say that again?
The Plan Commission, are you comfortable with all those people? We actually have,
Yes.
Ann or Miller, Bill, and Paul Bokelman. Well, no, we take it, everybody on the Plan Commission is up this year. Well, no, I'm sorry, no. It's Ann Miller, Bill Serball, Paul Bokelman. Okay,
Paul
those
Schwingel, Mike Mercier, and myself.
correct. But three of the terms technically were up last year and the year before.
Everybody wants to stay on.
Okay. Well, then I'll make a motion to reappoint Ann Miller, Bill Serball, and Paul Bokelman to the Plan Commission.
I'll second that.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
So I have a motion by Lowry, a second by Goss to reappoint Ann Miller, Bill Serball, and Paul Bockelman to Plan Commission. Cavazos,
Aye.
Goss,
Aye.
Lowry,
Yes.
Ward,
Aye.
Johnson. Passes 5-0.
Kathy, you on Parks and Property, are you okay with that group?
Yeah, and I didn't talk to Lou, but I figured he could talk for himself if this came up tonight. I did email the other members to see if they were still up for it. And I got a affirmative from Christine, affirmative from Cheryl Culver. I did not hear back from Donna Scattergood. I don't have any reason to think that she would not be interested. I knew she was highly involved with some of what Chief Hecht is doing. So I wanted to give her opportunity if she felt overwhelmed. She just didn't get back to me, but I don't know that she's not good to continue. And then I thought I'd let Lou speak for himself.
No, that's fine, Kathy. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, then going on to Highway. Bud, you'll have to make a comment on this. That thing, the Highway look okay?
The only person I know everybody is doing a good job on there. I don't know how long Mr. Serba would be interested in serving. I really don't know about him now. He's on Plan Commission, correct?
He is. He's one of our weaker members.
And I don't know, yeah, I'm not sure what his intentions might be on Highway. He misses a lot of meetings because he's out and about, but I really, other than him, I know everybody else is willing to serve, and I'd have to talk to Mr. Serbaugh to get his intentions before I can commit to him.
Okay. Yeah, he won't be traveling to Turkey much this year.
Yes.
Okay, that pretty much leaves us with all the other committees pretty much intact. Nancy, I'm going to light your fuse again.
Go for it.
Well, and this goes to the Scarborough, the escarpment group.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
This goes to the escarpment, your escarpment committee. I think you have 3 town board members on that committee. And Bud and I discussed this. I think technically your meetings probably have to be posted with that caveat that board members be, are in attendance, but they will not be acting as board members of the town of Liberty Grove.
We can do that.
It's a technicality, but I think it'll save a lot of problems down the line.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Well, the fuse was very long that time.
Told you I
Okay.
was adamant about the finance committee. This is not a
Okay.
bother.
All right.
Makes sense.
All right, and I think now the thing we need to start doing, I think we need to start getting the committees up and running again. We've been kind of in a hiatus for about a month and a half now. And we're gonna have to do it through the Zoom meetings, obviously. But I think the committee chairs, if Stacy will notify them that they should start planning to resume the regular committee meetings. And just to double check that all their committee people, can get onto the Zoom. Anybody have a comment or question about that?
I have a technical question about the escarpment group postings.
Okay,
Normally, I just send those agendas out. Is that something, is it now going to have to be posted in public places, et cetera, et cetera?
oh, Bud, do you want to answer that?
I guess it should be consistent with the town postings, so people are seeing that there's board members doing meetings.
We
in
have
relation to-
tried as a group very, very hard to distance ourselves from being considered part of the town. It just so happens we are people that are supervisors. We don't, I don't know. My fuse is starting to light here. I can certainly post it on the agenda that town board members, there would be a quorum, but nothing is going to be decided. We are not part of the town. But if we start posting them like regular town agendas, that same misconception, I believe, is going to be resurfacing about, oh, GODC is part of the town.
Maybe it'll just work with a disclaimer on the bottom of the agenda.
I'll be happy
So it
to do
doesn't
that.
look like it's an agenda itself.
Thank
Just
you.
some kind of a disclaimer that there's a possibility that a quorum of the board would be here, but no board decisions are being made.
Certainly. I
Now
can
that-
send, I can put the town on the list of recipients of agenda for GODC so you can, see if it meets the standard, but I think I know what you need as far as the disclaimer goes.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. What it does actually is protect both parties, I guess, in the long run. In case somebody, gets a burr under their saddle about something, technically they can't really come after the escarpment committee or the town board. I think
No, and
that's-
we'd like to keep a clear separation there. I do
Sure.
understand the need for a disclaimer, but we have difficulty separating ourselves from the town and separating ourselves from the information center.
Okay. All right, that about takes us up on 17, correspondence, Bud.
Excuse me, I didn't quite get that.
Correspondence,
Oh, okay. Just a couple of items. I have a thank you note here from the Door County campus of the Humane Society, thanking us for the donation that the town gave to them. Communique from the Door County Tavern League, making some suggestions. The ones that would pertain to the town here would be lowering the renewal of existing Class B liquor licenses to $50, which is the lowest amount allowed by the statute. I don't know if it's 50. I thought it was 100, but I could be wrong. Waiving the renewal fee for a license for Class B beer license and waiving the renewal fees for existing operator licenses. That is from Barbara Lautenbach of the Door County Tavern League. We have the meeting agenda here for the Board of Adjustment on Tuesday, May 12th. There's, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 hearings listed on the agenda here, one of which is the John and Carol Wall variance from the town of Liberty Grove. That would be it.
Okay, just a quick note, our next board meeting, we'll go back to the regular 7 o'clock meeting unless something drastic comes up.
Okay.
All right. I will leave you with the following, and this comes from James Oppenheim. The foolish man seeks happiness in the distance. The wise grows it under his feet. I move we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Are you going to do
Aye.
a roll call?
Okay, roll call, go ahead.
Okay, I couldn't get unmute. Ward,
Aye.
Goss,
Aye.
Lowry,
Yes,
Johnson,
Aye.
Cavazos.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
all right, thank you, everybody. Stay safe. Wear those masks.
Night.
Good night.